My wife's secret life destroyed our marriage, and what I did next will shock you. I never thought I'd be writing this story, but after everything that happened, I need to get it out. Maybe it'll help someone else going through the same thing. My name is Jake, and I'm 34 years old. I was married to Sarah for 8 years. We met in college, dated for 3 years, and got married right after graduation. She was everything I thought I wanted in a wife: smart, funny, beautiful, and ambitious. For the first few years, everything was perfect. We bought a house, got good jobs, and started planning our future together. We talked about kids, vacations, growing old together, all the stuff married couples dream about. But looking back now, I can see the signs I missed. The late nights at work, the new friends I never met, the way she guarded her phone like it contained state secrets. I trusted her completely. That was my biggest mistake. It started about 2 years ago. Sarah joined a book club, or at least that's what she told me. Every Tuesday night, she'd leave the house at 7 and come back around 11. Sometimes she'd smell like wine, sometimes like cigarettes, even though she didn't smoke. When I asked about the books they were reading, she'd give vague answers. "Oh, it's a romance novel. You wouldn't like it." Or, "It's some literary thing. Kind of boring, actually." I should have pushed harder, but I was busy with my own work, and I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was my wife. The book club meetings started happening more often. Suddenly it was twice a week, then 3 times. When I mentioned it seemed like a lot of reading, she got defensive. "I'm finally doing something for myself," she snapped. "Can't you be supportive of that?" So I backed off. I didn't want to be the controlling husband. I wanted to support her hobbies and friendships. God, I was such an idiot. The business trip that changed everything. Last March, Sarah told me she had to go on a business trip to Chicago. Her company was sending her to a conference for 3 days. She seemed excited about it, talking about the networking opportunities and the chance to advance her career. I drove her to the airport on Thursday morning. She kissed me goodbye and promised to call every night. I told her to have fun and focus on work. She did call that first night. We talked for about 20 minutes. She told me about the hotel, the conference sessions, and the boring networking dinner. Everything seemed normal. Friday night she called again, but something felt different. She seemed distracted, like she was somewhere noisy. When I asked about it, she said she was in the hotel lobby and there was some kind of event going on. Saturday night, no call. I texted her around 9 p.m. "Hey babe, how was your day?" No response. I called at 10, straight to voicemail. I figured maybe the conference ran late or she was tired and went to bed early. I didn't want to be clingy, so I just sent a text saying, "Sleep well, see you tomorrow." Sunday morning, I went to pick her up at the airport. She looked tired, but happy. On the drive home, she talked nonstop about the conference, the people she met, and the opportunities that might come from it. But something felt off. She was talking too much, like she was trying to fill the silence. And she kept checking her phone. When we got home, she went straight to the shower. I noticed she left her phone on the kitchen counter. That was weird. Sarah never went anywhere without her phone. I wasn't planning to look. I'm not that kind of person. But it buzzed with a text message, and I glanced at it instinctively. The message was from someone named Marcus. It said, "Missing you already. Can't wait for next time." My stomach dropped. I told myself it could be innocent. Maybe Marcus was a colleague she met at the conference. Maybe it was about a business opportunity. But deep down, I knew better. The investigation begins. I couldn't stop thinking about that text. For the next few days, I watched Sarah more carefully. She was on her phone constantly, but she'd put it face down when I walked into the room. She'd step outside to take certain calls. She started working late more often. The book club meetings continued, but now I started paying attention to details. What was she wearing when she left? How did she look when she came back? Did she really smell like books and coffee, or something else? One Tuesday, I decided to follow her. I know how that sounds. I know it makes me look paranoid and controlling, but I had to know the truth. I waited until she left, then got in my car and followed at a distance. She didn't go to the library or any bookstore. She didn't go to anyone's house for a book club meeting. She went to the Marriott downtown. I sat in the parking lot for 2 hours, waiting. When she finally came out, she wasn't alone. She was with a man. Tall, dark hair, well-dressed. They stood by the entrance talking for a few minutes. Then he pulled her close and kissed her. Not a friendly goodbye kiss, a passionate, intimate kiss. I felt like I was going to throw up. I drove home in a daze. When Sarah got back 3 hours later, she acted completely normal. She told me about the book they discussed and complained about one of the other women in the group. I just nodded and smiled, playing along with her lie. Gathering evidence, I knew I needed proof, not just for myself, but in case things got ugly with a divorce. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I hired a private investigator. His name was Detective Ray Collins. He'd handled hundreds of cheating spouse cases. When I told him my story, he just nodded like he'd heard it 1,000 times before. "We'll get you the truth," he said. "But are you sure you want it? Once you know for certain, you can't unknow it." I told him yes. I had to know. It took Ray 2 weeks to get the full picture, and it was worse than I'd imagined. Sarah wasn't just having an affair. She was living a double life. The man from the hotel was Marcus Thompson. He was 42, divorced, and worked in finance. Sarah had been seeing him for over a year. They met at a bar during one of her fake book club nights. But that wasn't all. The Chicago business trip? There was no conference. Sarah had used her vacation days and flown to Chicago to spend the weekend with Marcus. They'd stayed at the Ritz-Carlton and spent 3 days playing house. The book club? It was code for meeting Marcus, sometimes at hotels, sometimes at his apartment across town. Sometimes they'd go out to dinner or shows, acting like a real couple. Ray had photos, dozens of them. Sarah and Marcus holding hands walking down the street, kissing outside restaurants, going into his apartment building together, coming out the next morning. He had credit card receipts too. Expensive dinners, hotel rooms, gifts, all charged to credit cards I didn't know Sarah had. The worst part, Ray found evidence of at least 2 other men. Sarah wasn't just cheating with Marcus. She was cheating with multiple people. My wife of 8 years was living a secret life as a single woman, and I had no idea. I spent 3 days looking at Ray's evidence, trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to confront Sarah immediately. Another part wanted to talk to a lawyer first. A small part of me actually considered pretending I didn't know. But I couldn't live with the lie anymore. On Friday night, Sarah announced she had another book club meeting. She was getting dressed in the bedroom, putting on a new dress I'd never seen before. "Nice dress," I said. "Is it new?" "Oh, this old thing?" she laughed. "I've had it forever." That's when I snapped. "Really? Because according to my credit card statement, you bought it at Nordstrom last Tuesday, the same day you were supposed to be at work." She froze. I could see her mind racing, trying to come up with an explanation. "I can explain," she started. "Can you explain Marcus Thompson too?" I asked. The color drained from her face. "Jake, can you explain the Ritz-Carlton in Chicago? The apartment on 5th Street, the other men?" She started crying then. Big, dramatic tears. But I wasn't buying it anymore. "How long have you known?" she whispered. "Long enough," I said. "The question is, how long has this been going on?" She tried to minimize it at first. It was just Marcus. It had only been a few months. It didn't mean anything. She loved me, but I had the evidence. When I showed her the photos, the receipts, the timeline Ray had put together, she finally broke down and told me the truth. It had been going on for over a year. There were 3 different men she was seeing regularly. Marcus was the main one, but there were others. She'd been living this double life, pretending to be a faithful wife while acting like a single woman whenever she wanted. "Why?" I asked. "If you wanted to be single, why didn't you just divorce me?" Her answer still haunts me. "Because I wanted both," she said. "I wanted the security and stability of being married to you, but I also wanted the excitement and freedom of being single. I thought I could have both." I moved out that night. I couldn't stand to be in the same house as her for another minute. I went to my brother's place and slept on his couch. The next morning I called a divorce lawyer. Sarah tried everything to get me back. She called and texted constantly. She showed up at my work. She sent flowers and cards. She promised to end all the affairs and go to counseling. But it was too late. The trust was completely gone. The divorce took 6 months. Sarah fought me on everything. She wanted half the house, half my retirement, spousal support. She claimed she was entitled to it because she'd been a good wife for most of our marriage. My lawyer laughed at that. With all the evidence Ray had gathered, we had a strong case for adultery. In our state, that affected the property division. Sarah ended up with much less than she'd hoped for. The discovery gets worse. During the divorce proceedings, more truth came out. Sarah's affairs had been going on even longer than I'd thought. My lawyer's forensic accountant found evidence of secret spending going back 3 years. Hotel rooms, expensive dinners, gifts, even a weekend trip to Las Vegas I knew nothing about. She'd been using credit cards in her maiden name and hiding the statements. The total amount she'd spent on her affairs, over $40,000. Money that should have gone toward our mortgage, our retirement, our future together. Instead, she'd spent it playing house with other men. But the worst discovery came from her laptop. My lawyer had subpoenaed her electronic devices as part of the divorce. Sarah had tried to delete everything, but nothing's ever really gone on a computer. The forensic specialist recovered thousands of text messages, emails, and photos. Not just with Marcus and the other men I knew about. There were more, many more. Sarah had been using dating apps throughout our marriage. Tinder, Bumble, Ashley Madison. She had profiles on all of them, claiming to be single. The messages were devastating to read. She talked about how boring I was, how she needed real men who could excite her, how marriage was just a safety net while she had her fun. In one message to Marcus, she wrote, "Jake is so clueless. I could probably bring you home for dinner and he wouldn't figure it out." In another, to a different man, "My husband thinks I'm at book club. If only he knew I was getting the best read of my life." She'd been laughing at me for years. The divorce was finalized in November. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. 3 weeks after our divorce was final, I got a call from Marcus Thompson's ex-wife. Her name was Jennifer, and she'd found my number in Marcus's phone records during their own divorce proceedings. "I think we need to talk," she said. We met at a coffee shop downtown. Jennifer was attractive, well-dressed, and looked as tired as I felt. "How much do you know about Marcus and Sarah?" she asked. "Enough," I said. "They were having an affair. It helped destroy my marriage." Jennifer laughed bitterly. "It wasn't just an affair. They were planning to get married." She showed me text messages between Marcus and Sarah, messages talking about their future together, plans to buy a house, discussions about having children. While Sarah was begging me to take her back, she was making wedding plans with Marcus. "But here's the thing," Jennifer continued. "Marcus was cheating on Sarah too, with at least 2 other women that I know of." The irony was almost funny. Sarah had destroyed our marriage to be with Marcus, but Marcus was playing the same game with her that she'd played with me. "There's more," Jennifer said. She pulled out a folder of documents. Marcus and Sarah opened a joint bank account 6 months ago. They were planning to buy a house together. She showed me the bank statements. Sarah had been putting money into this account for months. Money I'd thought was going to pay our bills or save for our future. "The account has about $15,000 in it," Jennifer said. "Marcus cleaned it out last week and disappeared. Sarah doesn't know yet." I almost felt sorry for Sarah. Almost. It's been 8 months since the divorce was finalized. I've moved on with my life, but the effects of Sarah's betrayal still linger. I sold our house and bought a smaller place across town. I changed jobs to get a fresh start. I've been going to therapy to deal with the trust issues and emotional damage. Dating has been hard. It's difficult to trust anyone when the person you trusted most in the world spent years lying to your face. But I'm working on it. Sarah's life, from what I hear, has been a disaster. Marcus took the money and disappeared. She never heard from him again. Turns out he'd been running the same scam on multiple women. Sarah was just another mark. She lost her job about 4 months after our divorce. Apparently her boss found out about her affairs and the drama surrounding her personal life. Her company didn't want that kind of publicity. She moved back in with her parents. At 32 years old, she's living in her childhood bedroom, unemployed and alone. Her friends from the book club days have all moved on. Turns out most of them were married women living similar double lives. When the drama of my divorce became public, they all distanced themselves from Sarah. She's tried to contact me a few times, usually when she's been drinking. The messages are always the same. She's sorry, she made a mistake, she wants another chance. I don't respond. This whole experience taught me some painful but important lessons. First, trust your instincts. I had gut feelings that something was wrong for months, but I ignored them because I didn't want to be suspicious or controlling. If something feels off, it probably is. Second, people are capable of more deception than you think. Sarah wasn't some evil person who set out to destroy our marriage. She was someone who made selfish choices and justified them to herself. She convinced herself that what I didn't know wouldn't hurt me, but it did hurt me. It destroyed me. Third, the truth always comes out eventually. Sarah thought she was smart enough to keep her double life secret forever, but lies have a way of unraveling. There are always traces, always evidence, always someone who knows the truth. Fourth, some betrayals can't be forgiven. I know there are couples who survive affairs and come out stronger. But Sarah's betrayal wasn't one mistake or one affair. It was years of systematic deception and multiple betrayals. There was no coming back from that. Finally, you can survive anything if you're willing to do the work. The first few months after discovering Sarah's affairs were the darkest of my life. I didn't think I'd ever trust anyone again. I didn't think I'd ever be happy again. But with therapy, support from friends and family, and time, I'm healing. I'm not the same person I was before, but maybe that's not a bad thing. I'm stronger now, wiser, more careful with my trust. I'm dating someone new now. Her name is Amy, and she's nothing like Sarah. She's honest, straightforward, and has her own life and interests. We take things slowly, which works for both of us. Amy knows my story. I was upfront about what I'd been through and why I might have trust issues. Instead of running away, she's been patient and understanding. Not everyone is Sarah, she told me once. Some of us actually believe that marriage means something. I'm starting to believe that too. I still have bad days. Sometimes I'll see a couple holding hands and wonder if one of them is cheating. Sometimes I'll get paranoid about Amy and check her social media or ask too many questions about where she's been. But those days are getting fewer and farther between. The divorce papers are in a folder in my closet. Sometimes I look at them and remember how devastated I was when I first discovered Sarah's betrayal, how I thought my life was over. But my life wasn't over. It was just beginning a new chapter. Sarah made her choices, and now she's living with the consequences. I made my choices too. I chose to leave. I chose to fight for what I deserved in the divorce. I chose to get help and work on healing. I chose to move forward instead of looking back. I wasn't going to write any more about this, but something happened last week that I think provides the perfect ending to this story. Amy and I got engaged. I know what you're thinking. After everything I went through with Sarah, how can I trust marriage again? How can I be sure Amy won't do the same thing? The truth is, I can't be completely sure. There are no guarantees in life or love. But Amy has shown me through her actions that she's nothing like Sarah. When I told Amy about my past, she didn't just listen. She opened up about her own painful relationships. She showed me her phone without me asking. She introduced me to her friends and family right away. Most importantly, she's consistent. What she says matches what she does. Who she is in public is the same as who she is in private. The proposal wasn't elaborate. We were hiking last Saturday, and we stopped at this overlook with a beautiful view of the valley below. I looked at her, and I realized I wasn't scared anymore. "Amy," I said, "I want to spend the rest of my life with you." She started crying happy tears and said yes before I even got the ring out. We called our families that night to share the news. Amy's parents were thrilled. My parents were cautiously happy but supportive. My mom pulled me aside later. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "After everything with Sarah?" "I'm sure," I told her. "Amy isn't Sarah. I'm not the same person I was then either. I know what to look for now. I know what real love looks like." And I do. Real love is honest, even when the truth is hard to hear. Real love is consistent, not just when it's convenient. Real love means choosing your partner every day, not just when you feel like it. Sarah never loved me, not really. She loved what I provided for her. The security, the stability, the cover story for her real life. Amy loves me. The real me. The broken, cautious, sometimes paranoid me that Sarah's betrayal created. She loves me anyway and helps me be better. We're planning a small wedding next fall. Nothing fancy, just close friends and family. After the expensive disaster that never happened with Sarah, simple sounds perfect. I ran into Sarah about a month ago at the grocery store. She was by herself, looking tired and older than her 33 years. She saw me and started to approach, but then she noticed Amy beside me. For just a moment, I saw something in Sarah's face. Regret, maybe, or recognition of what she'd thrown away. She turned and walked away without saying anything. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no satisfaction. Nothing. That's when I knew I was finally free. If you're reading this and going through something similar, I want you to know it gets better. The pain doesn't last forever. The betrayal doesn't define you. You deserve someone who chooses you every day. You deserve someone who's proud to be with you, not someone who hides you while they play house with other people. You deserve real love. Don't settle for anything less. Thank you for reading my story. I hope it helps someone out there who needs to hear it. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead to the best things. I wouldn't wish what I went through on anyone, but I'm grateful for where it led me. To Sarah, if you're reading this, I hope you've learned from your mistakes and found some peace. I've forgiven you, not for your sake, but for mine. But I'll never forget. To Amy, thank you for showing me what real love looks like. I can't wait to marry you. To everyone else, trust your instincts, value yourself, and never stop believing that you deserve better. The truth always comes out. Love always wins. The end.